So Calic here, so probably Diamond Wild, or sorry, Sapphire Diamond Control. Seems really good with a second, with 2 Sapphire, but I think I'm gonna play Catch and Release with only one, with none in the opener. Yeah, it seems great to go this on 1 to Fate Wave. Yeah, definitely. Even when you're playing in Cosmic, I think there's a big difference between ladder and tournament play. Like maybe the first couple rounds of the average bash are going to be pretty comparable to like ladder gameplay, but like when you're getting into those later rounds, if you're doing well, you're going to start playing against decks that are a little bit more competitive than what you play against on the ladder, just because there's an entry fee and people care a little bit more about what they're playing for because there's real prizes on the line. So like when, for example, like my group and I, when we're testing for a Hex event, we do so by taking decks we think are going to be competitive and playing them over and over again against other decks explicitly. We don't just like hop on the ladder and play a bunch of games against random decks and random people. That's not necessarily great testing. We want to play against decks that we know are competitive and reasonable and have had success in the past. Right, Runebind's not a bad draw. I get to play this out. I think I want to just play the Sharpshooter here. Maybe I was supposed to play the Sharpshooter last turn. The Vault's fine to play in, but again, and a big part of this comes back to because the Vault doesn't have an entry fee in it. Huh. This is kind of interesting. So they're Winter's Grasping my Shardsworn here. I could just Runebind my Shardsworn because I put a resource on top of my deck. Yeah, I'm just going to do that, actually. I'm going to Runebind my Shardsworn, which actually makes this larger as well, so I still hit them for 2. But I Fate Wove a resource to the top of my deck, so this is going to replay next turn and make an extra troop, and then I can Consult the Talons. Yeah, the Vault's very similar to the ladder because there's no entry fee in it. I'm glad we packed the Brosy Bucks into our board since you're playing against a control deck here to start. Hello, Declan Scott. And I don't even think it's necessarily the number of rounds or like top 8 or not that make the Vault slightly less competitive than something than a bash. Just like the fact that like there's nothing on the line for people really, like that you just get to play whatever you want essentially. I don't actually think so, Numbers. We streamed a bunch with this deck yesterday or the day before, and it's just like consistently not impressed with the Verdict champion. Just like wasn't doing anything particularly powerful. Like we kept just like having it just like, oh, I don't have anything to do. Cause like this Verdict power just doesn't do anything, it's so bad. And like Calic, the Fate Weave also doesn't do a lot, but you have a higher starting health total. You're so annoying, child. I love you, but you are annoying. They have a dark card here, it's kind of annoying, because then I lose my Sharpshooter. Do not hit your father. Roar! You're a tiny monster. I bet chat's wondering what a tiny monster looks like. This is what a tiny monster looks like. Roar! So, because opponent used their champion power, I actually can't take a charge from them with Webborn Apostate this turn. Do I want to just Arcane Soil for a big hit here? They're holding up a possible interrupt, so the Sapphire Diamond deck that was played at the Bash had a bunch of like Weave into Nothings in the main, so I'm not going to play into a Weave into Nothing here. And if they're just like taking this hit here, this is pretty good for us, right? Gonna pass the turn here. If they have Aldurthan's Glory next turn, we're gonna be in a lot of trouble. I don't think you want to play cards like. You're obnoxious. I love you, but you're obnoxious. Runebind? Sure. I mean, that's really good for us, right? It's gonna make another 1-drop later. Huh. Do I want to just play this Pippit Hustler out to deny them 2 cards? I think I do. I think I do. So, Silver Talon Adjudicator. You want a bagel? You want cream cheese on the bagel? So my opponent only draws extra cards with this if, what's the word I'm searching for? If they have less cards in hand than me. So by playing the Pippit Hustler, we then have the same number of cards in hand. That's pretty sweet. Hit that. Generate a thing. I'm gonna go ahead and attack them with all of these. If they want to go ahead and block one of these for free, that's fine. They're taking a bunch of other damage. I'm gonna go ahead and Fate Weave a non-resource to the top of my deck here at this one. They're gonna need a Clash or a Eldurthan's Glory next turn. They're gonna be in a lot of trouble. I don't need a Shard for my champion power because Webborn Apostate will give me a charge next turn. Gosh, you're obnoxious, child. Down. Dad went down because you cranked his chair down. Guidance, yep. There's a donation link below the stream. You're going to want to make sure you check with me on Twitch, Twitter, or Discord. Make sure the deck that you want to donate for is something I'm willing to play. So, Webborn Apostate, gain a charge at my champion power. Even if they interrupt this, I have another Webborn Apostate. Yep, so they have to weave this because they're dead to the champion power. And then we get to play this next one. I guess maybe I should have just put a Shard on top because they have Runebind here. They could potentially not die this turn. Yep. And then for non-subs, it's a $20 donation. Or if you subscribe to the channel, it's a $12 donation. For Magic Leagues. Alright, so this is a Verdict matchup. This is a Brosi Buck matchup. This is probably a Rotting Chompknight matchup. It's like 10 out of 10 have Darkheart in their deck, right? I don't know what exactly I want to cut, though. Not stellar. You trim the change course because it's kind of just filler. I hate that, just bringing Verdicts and Brosies. This is all I want to do. Let's do it. Got my Pippits. Every day we hustle in. Opponent has the very beautiful water battle board here. Stands fine, right? Arcane Soil is very good in this matchup. You saw that last game. Arcane Soil, along with our champion power, can be used as kind of a Hadouken combo finish to make a bunch of Dreadlings and then give them all 2/2 and like attack for lethal in a single turn. But it also just like generates some card advantage for us in these control matchups and nugs them for a few points like it did that last game. So because I drew another Shard, I'm actually not sure if I want... Oh, this is kind of awkward. Alright, yeah, maybe I should have let on the ice because I kind of need a second wild. But at the same time, I need to guarantee a Sapphire in one so I can play this, then play this. So yeah, I probably should have played this first still. There's one of those on top anyways. See, now it's a touch awkward because, like, I want a second wild, but I also don't really want to draw more resources with this hand. I need a second wild to activate my champion power down the line. Yep. Alright, well, got there anyways. Now we get to Fate Weave non-resources and not feel bad about it. Start nugging them with these. Hey, doesn't have a ton of action in it, but that big of a deal. Grind him down slowly here. Dark Heart we really don't care about right now, right? I didn't bring in my Chompknights, did I? I have 4 Pippit Hustlers in my deck, though, that can kill this potentially. Or turn it and downgrade it into something else at the very least. Consult the Talon is not bad. Just draw some cards here. I guess I'm gonna have to discard now, right? Yeah, some discarding. Okay, they can race. That's good for us. We have another Dark Heart, maybe? Or an Alderthan's Glory? Adjudicator. I'm gonna go ahead and Runebind this, because if my opponent doesn't have a guidance to flip it out back immediately, it's gonna die next turn to their Dark Heart trigger. That's a tilt. Okay. I think that was a worthwhile risk. Could have potentially denied them 2 card draws. They'd already played 1 guidance. Already on me? Okay, apparently it was. This out. I'm just gonna make 7 dorks and nug them here. This draws 2 and then make 7 dorkos. There's a Pippit Hustler to shut down this Dark Heart at some point. Not attacking with either of these, they just get to eat it. This hits them for 6, so draw 2, 6-2 seems fine. We're gonna get to set up in 2 turns from now a Runebind plus Arcane Soil turn along with my Champion Power, which is pretty good. In fact, next turn, I can go Shard and then go Pippit Hustler this Dark Heart with Verdict of the Ancient Kings up, potentially. When it gets free reign to do what they want here, but I feel like we're in pretty good control so far. I get to, like, Hustle with Verdict next turn when they attack in, and then the following turn, I get to Arcane Soil with Runebind, so, like, once they fight over this Pippit Hustler, there's a pretty good chance that this Arcane Soil will get pushed through with this Runebind. And just like taking this hit here. So second Dark Heart here actually really isn't that scary, because what we get to do now is I get to Runebind this, and that lets me get an attack in this turn, and then my opponent's gonna have to sacrifice this Mysterious Rune Dark Heart to their other Dark Heart. I'm gonna play this and put a non-resource on top of my deck. Since I can't hold up the Verdict of the Ancient Kings anyways, I might as well play the Slow Shard. And now, I'm gonna get to Pippit Hustler this inside of combat. So once they attack with this, I'll Pippit Hustler and then hopefully shrink it and block it. Or they'll fight over the Pippit Hustler, leaving me a window to resolve Arcane Soil with Verdict next turn to then make enough things along with my Champ Power to kill my opponent. This is our first batch with the Tron Dragon. Okay, shoot this. Doesn't turn into a random 3 cost. Just a 2/2 with Steadfast, so get to gobble this up. Yeah, there's other commons with Momentum. There's gotta be a Momentum deck in Rock. They have two interrupts here potentially. I'm gonna play this first, even though it gives me one less thing, so lets me hold a verdict this turn. So they only have one interrupt. I get to kill them most likely. If they have two, we don't get to kill them, and it'll be slightly sad, but like not the end of the world. Do not have a second interrupt, so we get them. Okay, wrong start. The Furiko deck, like, always gave the control deck fit, so it wouldn't surprise me if, like, the Diamond Sapphire matchup is good for this deck. Hopefully the API stuff for Hex's Sword and we get bash data for tomorrow. Good games, Omni. I think that matchup's tough for the control deck, even when you are playing well. Obviously I can't know what mistakes you're making without seeing how you were sequencing, but I think even when both players are playing well, I think the Furiko deck's probably a little bit of a favorite there, especially with 4 Runebinds in the main. What do you think of Bowie Starlight and the Diamond Sapphire control deck? I personally don't like it and saw it sometimes. I don't think it's particularly good. I think it's worse than playing, like, extra... You don't even max out on Old Earthen's Glories, and, like, Glory is the type of card you want in that deck. It is a threat that also helps you stabilize the board. Like, when you're playing so few threats in the control deck, you want to make sure your threats are generating value, so that way, when they're turning on your opponent's removal, you're able to still get value out of them, even though you made your opponent's otherwise dead card live against you. Like another more controlling deck. Seems fine. Again, these Arcane Soils, one of the reasons why I love this deck is that in addition to Arcane Soil offering you a combo kill, it's just like a reasonable hex card to just like draw and play for 5 resources. Yeah, I think so, Krail. The only mill deck I like is the one Klutz played for a little while seemed pretty sweet. Although Storo posted like this tempo mill deck that seemed kind of great. It was like using mill as an enabler for its threats, which seemed interesting. Opponent playing Blood Sapphire, probably still a control deck. We'll see though. I guess it could theoretically be a mill deck, but probably not with Renner instead of the other one. I mean, there's a Howling Madness. Okay, kind of awkward sequencing. My opponent's Howling Madness is a quick action, and I intend to Fate Weave this turn, so like my opponent could have caught my Fate Weave off guard here if they'd have waited and played their quick action on my turn. Because like they're running out of resources anyway, so it's not like they're looking for something to play on their turn here. We Poplar 4000, gets 2 random boons. Okay. Interesting. So I got Swift Strike Speed. So when this hits me, they get 2 of them. This card's really sweet. I don't know if it's good, but it's certainly sweet. So probably not a Massacre deck. I'm just gonna alpha here, and then probably Runebind this inside of combat. I think this card might just be good in general. I guess I could get interrupted here, and then this could end poorly for me. If they have an interrupt, they're then gonna get to do this guaranteed. Shackling strands, okay. Sure. Great. This is guaranteed to resolve next turn, which is nice. Pressuring my opponent here. Hopefully, if this flips back out, they don't get speed on it again. Be ideal for us. We're gonna get 2 shots at a shard, though. If they already have a shard, so they'll get to draw off my deck, too. Great, so I got 9 shard off of my deck. We're 2 turns away from my champion power here. We get Massacred, I'm gonna be kind of tilted. Massacred, do 3/2 decks like we got Clash of Steel out of the Sockets deck yesterday. I was so done. I'm just like, whoa. Hey, Foxy Clean. Clever username 37 with the brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. I really appreciate that. Subscriptions are the best way you could show support for my content here, so welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate that next level of support. They must have an interrupt here. They paused when I runebound this. They have a dingle. Okay. Really, Declan? You think so? You're not wrong, Rogue. Leaves me behind a body to pump up. And this might be lethal. Hey. Declan, that's not okay, buddy. Don't grab the cords under Dad's desk. Alrighty, well, I guess they don't have a counter. Play this out so I can get an extra guy that's bigger. Alright, Ace Space Smash Face. This is like the combo kill out of this deck. -4, yep. Hello, tiny human. Huh. You know, there's probably supposed to be some amount of Ires in my reserves. Interrupt target blood card. Yeah. 100% know what the opponent's doing. They're kind of playing, like, I guess the repoplar you gotta bring in the Rotting Chompknights for. Hi, buddy. I guess Evaporate might be an okay tempo play for it as well. Yeah, I'm gonna cut these change courses and bring in Evaporates. Hi, Declan. We're almost done. Eat your snack. When Jake gets home, we'll have our lunch, okay? You know the drill, dude. You're not new here. Jake will be home from school in about 45 minutes, and then we'll eat lunch together, okay? Jake is not back yet. Yeah, sounds pretty good. Needs another troop to enable this Consult the Talons, but a lot of troops in our deck to draw to. Perfect. Put a resource on top. Guarantee we hit our first few here. Dad loves you. Dad loves you. Dad loves Declan. Dad loves Declan. So Sapphire Shard means they can't play a Vampire Prince this turn. I'm gonna go ahead and put Blightbush on top. Play Blightbush here because it's better against Repoppler, assuming it gets speed, not Swift Strike. I don't need to worry about webborning them just yet. I love you, Screecher Creature. Are you a good Screecher Creature? Yep, there's the Repoppler. Sky Drain. Skyguard, Life Drain. Okay. It's so weird seeing Skyguard without Steadfast, just because, like, the gem is Skyguard and Steadfast, so you get used to seeing both of those. I think we have a non-resource to the top here since I already have Shards 4-5 in my hand. That's pretty good. So they get to look at my hand and take a card of their choice out. I guess I have Consult and Arcane Soil that are both pretty good here, so dealer's choice. They took my Runebind. That's interesting. I guess that lets me interact with this dice slate. Hopefully we draw another troop here. Perfect. Do I want to let them get this off? That's the question. I think I want to just gas up here, so that way next turn I can Arcane Soil with this. This is gonna let them hit me with this, but now next turn I can go Arcane Soil plus hit my champion power. That's neat. Yeah, I think this card's just, like, genuinely good. Alright, I think I'm going to gas up here for a turn. Yeah, Repoppler in an Elk deck could be sweet. Huh. Alright, so I'm gonna play this. Now the question becomes, do I want to just hold a Runebind up for this turn? I think I do. I think I want to just hold a Runebind up. Although holding Runebind up this turn means I can't hold Runebind up next turn, which is a little unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm just gonna Withering Gaze. I'm just gonna Runebind this. Yep. So I'm actually going to block this one, even though I'm not going to trade with it, because this one's going to crush over and populate regardless. So I don't want them to populate twice here. My opponent doesn't have an interrupt. This Arcane Soil should be about lethal. Wow, no interrupt. They have Misery? Misery's lethal too. Alright, when in doubt, swing out. This is my squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opponent is just taking the no blocks concede. Okay. I don't think they were actually dead there if they blocked the right way, because one of those had life trade, but sure. Lullaby's rotated and it's wild. Select that. Back on in here for the next one. Let's change boards. Furiko feels like a jungle battle board type deck, doesn't it? Get our aesthetics to line up here, save for the flavor. Yeah, Sharpshooter's sweet. It was like a card that was like close to good enough last season, but just wasn't quite there, and like we lost enough that I think it's fine. Oh, did I want some Ires in my board? Yeah, there's like a bunch of cards that are just like kind of poop in here, right? Like I want like 2 Ires. It's like, why are there all these Arcane Winds in my board? Do those in there, and then I have 2 Verdicts, 2 Ires post board for Massacre decks. Very rude Massacre decks trying to slaughter my Furiko children. They're just innocent Furiko children. Don't massacre them. Please don't massacre them. You can even see going deeper and playing more Ires than that if you expect a lot of blood. Oh, it's got a fancy hero fall battle board. Look, Renner, sweet. Ires can go to work right away here. Seems fine. It's a couple more resources, but if we hit one more shard on time, we get to go ahead and fire off these consults, which is nice. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. The classic turn 2 Warpsteel, turn 3 other 2-drop, play Consult. I bet it was a system load thing, Jin. If you, I know on my computer at least, and my computer is pretty beefy, that used to really lag on my system in terms of animation, so. Furiko Yetigeddon. That, huh. Maybe we need to build that. I haven't tried that yet, but it sounds like something I need to build. We're actually gonna have to discard if we consult next turn, right? I have no idea. That's just pure guesstimation based on what I've seen on my computers. That being said, having triple consult is probably pretty good against the blood deck. Except against Bride of the Damned, that's just gonna dumpster us. Well, this generates a card for us. So if I hadn't drawn a different 2-drop to play here, I would have had to discard. Because this conscript's a 1-drop. Sweet, we hit Pippit Hustler here for this Bride of the Damned. So Bride of the Damned, for those that are new, Whenever you gain a blood threshold, an opposing troop gets -1/-1 permanently. When you have 5 blood thresholds, if an opposing troop would die, revert it and put it into play under your control instead. No blocks here. It's possible I should chump block. Love to sacrifice 1 troop. Love to sacrifice 1 troop. Blossoms when they die. Sure, they're gonna kill a blossom here. I don't know about $8, but yeah, this card definitely should not be the 25 that it costs. Again, we actually talked about this earlier on stream. Just like price memory is a real thing in TCGs. Like once a chase card's expensive, it often takes a long time for it to come down, if ever. I wouldn't be surprised if this card maintains its ridiculous price tag until it rotates. Troop you control dies, troops you control get Gladiator 1. Cute. But they have another Bride plus blood removal here. We're going to be in a lot of trouble. They don't have another Bride here. We're going to be in a good spot. Sweet. I'm missing a shard drop too. Same for us. It'd be nice if we could hit a shard here. And we could go this, into this. Another prince. It's tough to race. To do this. This. Resource. Found one. Sweet. Unfortunately, we are one turn off of this. We can't play this out and take a charge away from them because they don't have any charges to take. Mommy. Owie. Owie, yeah, you should watch where you're going. So they really don't want a massacre here, because their vampire princes are like killing us, right? I wonder if I was supposed to play Sensei last turn. Hi, buddy. Alright, so what do we want to do? We have so many choices here. I think I'm starting by going Webborn into Consult. Just see what we draw. No, I think I want to give myself the best chance to hit a shard this turn, because I really want to hit a shard this turn. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Attacking with these for sure. I think I was going to burn a Runebind on this Vampire Prince and take it off the table. And the fact that they had coin makes me really glad I chose double coin. That's fucking gross. At least they didn't undo it. They have a third coin. Let's get triple coined out of this game. Strangle targeting. Oh, they have a massacre? Is that what this is? Feels like a massacre, right? I actually have to Runebind this, right? Because if they hit a... No, I don't have to Runebind that. If they hit a shard, I could have... Alright, they took a shard off my deck. There's a massacre while the vampire princes are out. Yep. Alright, come on, shard. I've got 3 shots at a resource here. 3 shots at a resource to kill them. Yeah, buddy. Ding. Fries are done. Yeah. Combo! Hadouken! 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 Yeah, I know. You're adorable. And loud. Shh. Alright. 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 Confounding Ire, Verdict of the Ancient Kings. This is probably a Palm of Granite out matchup. I think I want to just leave the change courses in so I can find my Pippit Hustlers, because like we're pretty soft to Bride of the Damned in this deck. Actually, I think I'm going to cut one of these and bring in a Evaporate. Declan's got a healthy set of pipes. My Hex decks are linked down below the stream. Stream Decker doesn't integrate with Hex just yet. It's supposed to at some point. We don't call in the Screecher creature for nothing, okay? Like, fine. Not super exciting, but fine. Perfect. I'm gonna lead on this for now. Wild. Kinda like Brosi. Yeah, Brosi could be okay. I don't even know if Brosi's supposed to be in this deck as part of the problem. Because, like, Brosi is kind of medium when, like, we're keeping a lot of cards in our hand. God, that's rude. That's super rude. Or a poor Warpsteel Shardsworn will make a friend that'll just die right away. Yep. Change course now, see what we find. Alright, Consult's not bad. I'm gonna fate leave a non-resource to the top of my deck here. Probably just looking to get... Oh, yeah. Good chat. Good chat. I like how it didn't actually concede until my auto pass had been up. I want more Evaporates. I think I do. Keep this Bride off tempo. These shards don't have a method outside of Pippit Hustler of getting rid of Bride, right? It's like Bride's like the death knell for this deck. I don't have a good, like, Blight Knight 2 is really annoying. Without Transmog, these shards just like don't have good ways to get those cards off the table. Upside to going to game 3, we get to play on this sweet battle board. This hand needs a second Sapphire really badly, but if it hits it, it's gonna be excellent. Oh, we have Into the Unknown. Okay, yeah, there should be some Into the Unknowns in my 75. Thank you for the recommendation, Tron Dragon. Yeah. 10 out of 10. The change we will make after this match. If we have time for another one, we might not have time for another one after this. We'll see. There should be 2x Into the Unknown at least in this deck. Hopefully we hit a Sapphire next turn. Like a non-slow and actual Sapphire Shard or a Well, so that way we get to go 2-drop into Consult. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Diminishing is terrible. Never do it. Anytime you think Runic Diminishing is bad, take a deep breath and realize it's a terrible card. Don't put it in your deck. Don't do it. It's a trap. It's a trap! It's a trap! Alright, well, it's not a Bride of the Damned at least. Sure. Okay, so I can play this. I'm just doing this to start. Because it's like the definition of a trap card, right? Like, it looks really exciting, but is actually really terrible. It's the double Apostate, get to chant power on 5. We don't get a 1/1 back here because Blight Knight. Assuming this is not attacking here. Just straight up no attacks. Well, that's insane for us. Yeah, I guess I'm just passing here, right? I'm gonna Pippit Hustler, and then on my turn I can go like Bush or Shardsworn. That's not happening. That right on out of here. That right on. Get it out. This means my turn sequence is gonna be a little bit off here. Another Pippit Hustler. That's pretty good for us. Just gonna play this out for now. Yeah, I don't want to play this because the created card, even in my hand, will be -1/-1. Hustler's just really, really good in general. It can answer any card, so it's really pretty powerful here. It's just like fixed target problem. Remember, Pippit Hustler is similar to Transmogre Fade, but it actually answers constants and artifacts and stuff like that too. That's a tilt. I lose the other one out of my hand here. We're probably going to be pretty dead to a Massacre here unless we draw an Interrupt. It's unfortunate. Now I have to look at myself and ask, can I beat a Massacre? I think the answer to that question is no. So let's not try and beat a Massacre. I'm just going to literally concede the game if they have Massacre. Sometimes you can beat a Massacre, sometimes you have the tools to do that, other times you don't. And just like put your eggs in, just say, alright, kill me. If you can't, great for me if you can't. The fact that they're double blocking here sends me the message that they don't currently have Massacre, which is good for me. Yeah, I think going all in is right. Just like ship. And the double block, if they had the Massacre, they would have blocked to preserve their health total, right? They don't have it, so we win. Sweet. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more the Brosies probably aren't good in this deck, and I'd rather fight the control decks by interrupting them, I think. So, kind of think I want, like, 3 into the unknowns even in the board. This 20 minutes. Let's try one more. The bus is often late. Actually, I have 30 minutes. They don't get here till 10 after. A lot of times they don't get here till 20 after. So let's try it. Thank you everyone for hanging out here this morning. I really do appreciate it. Welcome. There's a lot of different things you could be doing, different people you could be watching. Thanks for choosing to spend the start of your weekend here with us. My name is Jeff Hogan. We're wrapping up one more match of Hex Shards of Fate here this morning, playing a Sapphire Wild Furiko deck. I've been streaming for about 3 hours, so remember, if you're enjoying what you see, please hit that follow button. It doesn't cost you anything, helps other people find my stuff. If you really want to support my content past that, you can subscribe on Twitch or become a patron on Patreon. You can also support my content by supporting my sponsors. InkedGaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience. They do custom playmats and mouse pads and sleeves and all sorts of stuff. Speaking of, Ryvik! One of my very super awesome $24.99 a month subscribers. Thank you for your very generous continued support. I do appreciate it. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. 17 months in a row. And finally, hexprimal.com. They would love to buy and sell Hex TCG singles with you. So if you're gonna buy some cards anyways, do it with Hex Primal using code Jeff5 to save 5% on your orders there. I think I just cut the Pesky Pippit, didn't I? I don't know if I did or not. Pesky Pippit's a card that's like, it's fine against the control decks. It's like, it's good against the blood control decks, right? Because they massacre and clear your board, and then you like play Pippit and make squirrels. But if the control decks more now are like the Diamond Sapphire control is picked back up and they're leaning towards Clash, which makes Pesky Pippit much worse. So if you're expecting a lot of blood decks, Pesky Pippit's a good card for attacking that axis, but if you're expecting more Clash of Steel, I don't think Pesky Pippit's a very good choice. We played a bunch of different sweet decks today. We started out with Blood Diamond Sockets. We played a little Ruby Wild Elk. We played some Diamond Wild Momentum. Closing out here with Furiko. So lots of sweet things to be doing in the standard format, it feels like. Excited to see what the results of the clash are going to be tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm unable to play in the clash myself. We'll be playing next weekend, though. I'm excited to play next weekend. I just know this hand's a keep if it had some Sapphire, but it's not. So let's play catch and release. This is a matchup I'm interested to see here. So playing against Cassia, the Candles deck here. I guess there's a non-zero chance they could be playing a control deck, but likely Ruby Diamond Candle aggro. And I think this deck might be a touch too slow to keep up with these more aggressive decks. I think this deck's pretty good. We just beat Sapphire Diamond Control and we beat a Mono Blood deck, but I think we're going to be a little bit too slow against decks like what my opponent's playing right now. Play my Webborn Apostate. Looking for some more. Good for another 2-drop, like a Warpsteel Shardsworn would be excellent, so we could Warpsteel into Consult eventually here. Flame Barrage, yep, he's dead, Jim. Let's see what we draw here. Alright, so this is a really small thing, but you want to change course before you play the Sapphire Ice, because the Sapphire Ice guaranteed fixes an entire draw, whereas if you ice and then change course, it's only fixing 1/3 of our cantrip. So even though our change course is a quick action, remember, you don't have to play quick actions on your opponent's turn. You can go ahead and just do it here. One of the other reasons this matchup is probably hard is our deck has very minimal ways to interact with Scion of Lyvanth, which if they stick that here, we're just not going to have, yep. So unless we have a Pippit Hustler on top of our deck, this card's going to go unchecked and our opponent's just going to get to go insane next turn. Yeah. Webborn Apostate. I could Runebind this. I think that's probably ambitious. Like, just hoping they don't rip a shard for the turn. They also have, like, shard calls and guidances and stuff in their deck, so, like, Runebind is pretty mediocre in this matchup. Yep. I just don't have anything else going on. Let's hope for the best. Hope they're exceptionally unlucky and can't undo this. So, small sequencing mistake from my opponent here that we were able to capitalize on. Because they led on the Flame Barrage, they only got 1 Illuminate from their champion power. If they from their Scion. If they would have led on Runic Candescence, they would have been able to Flame Barrage in response to my Runebind and Illuminate again. Hey, Snarky Butt Munch with the brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much and welcome. I do appreciate it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hustle this now. So that way my opponent can't draw a resource and then get to do a thing. Just get rid of this now. That way, because like if they hit a resource next turn, they'd be able to guaranteed get an Illuminate trigger off of this, basically. I've been playing Hex for almost 2 years now. I started like January 2015. And Hex does have a completely free-to-play element if you... Yeah, we very dead. We very dead. You can grind into Hex from absolutely nothing if you want, but if you have a small bit of money to put into it, you can buy a cheap budget deck and you'll be able to grind faster with a budget deck than you do starting with nothing. So it depends on like... And by cheap, I mean about $15. I keep a list of budget decks here, but you can, just like Eternal or Hearthstone or all those other games, you can start from completely nothing with the free cards they give you and grind your way through the PvE into competitive decks as well. So it kind of depends on what your situation is and what you enjoy. Some people really enjoy grinding the free-to-play stuff, and more power to them. I am not one of those people. I'm really not sure how I want to board this matchup. I feel like I don't want to cut Palm of Granite, because I feel like my best bet to win here is kind of just go faster. Which doesn't seem like a fantastic plan, but I think it's the plan I've got. Sure. Guarantees me a second resource on the Fate Weave. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And now that you're a subscriber also, you make sure to hop in the subs only Discord server. There's always people in there, including myself, that are happy to answer questions about Magic, Hex, or anything. If anyone out there that's stopping by and normally one of my Magic watchers, Hexes, you can just grab it on Steam, search Hex Shards of Fate, and give it a download. If you're a Linux nerd like me, you can search on their forums, and they have a Linux build in testing. That's actually what I'm streaming from now. Love me some Linux. Grab a Wild Threshold. Yeah, just to keep them off their charges. So Webborn Apostate 2, when it comes into play, snakes their charge and gives it to us. You run resources off for the next couple turns here, ideally. Hex does not have a mobile variant, so unlike a lot of the games that have mobile clients, Hex doesn't have, or doesn't place, an artificial resource limit on the number of troops you can have in play. So I think managing hundreds of units on the board, or even dozens of units on the board, would be pretty unmanageable on a small screen. Hex hasn't talked to us about doing commentary again anytime soon, Ryvik. And honestly, as I've got so much stuff going on the weekends lately, like I haven't gotten to play, I didn't get to play the Bash last weekend, I'm not going to get to play it this weekend. I'm honestly not sure if I'd like to give up an entire Saturday to commentate when I could be playing without getting paid to do it. The last time I watched Penta, he had cut down on his background noise issues. Yeah, I think we're just mostly up a creek without a paddle here. I could evaporate this to like build a little bit of tempo here. If we would have had a resource this turn to go 2-drop plus evaporate, we'd be in an okay spot. I guess I'll attack with this because they're not going to block with their Scion. Then, like, I'll let my opponent untap and do their thing, so folks out there that are thinking about the Ruby Diamond Candle can see how busted this card is, but, like, they're probably going to play 2 or 3 things this turn. They're just going to make so many candles we're just never going to be able to win. Yep, so this plays, they trigger this. Like, if they have a guidance or a shard call here, they're going to get to trigger this again, in addition to triggering it here. Yep, there's a shard call. So people always ask me why there were shard calls in the candlestick. Yeah. So I feel like this Furiko list kind of settles into the same place it was last season, where, like, it's probably very good against a particular subset of decks, but it's not going to be particularly good against these more aggressive decks. Like, the Ruby, Diamond, Ardent decks gave the Furiko deck a really hard time last season. Somewhere between like $5 and $7, depending on where it's at, I believe. Also, like, Penta does, like, coverage on his own. Like, he's done solo coverage a couple of times. That's gotta be tough. Just, like, sitting there talking constantly. You're basically just, like, pre-recording. Without having someone to bounce off of, I probably wouldn't do a particularly good job either. Not that I think what Penta's doing is bad, but I think if I was doing it solo without Matt or Klutz and Druid, I think the commentary I would have would be much worse. Personally, for me, I would do a much worse job without a second person. Pack it in here. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but I agree. I think that's a little extreme, Jin. So the bus is gonna be here in 10 minutes, so I probably shouldn't fire up for another one. The stream's so much quieter than usual. Declan is playing nicely with his blocks, and Jake's at school right now, so. When Declan's edutained, he's very quiet, aren't you? You want to come say bye to the stream? Come say bye, and then we're gonna go upstairs.
Bye.
They said it was say bye, stream.
Bye, stream.
Bye, stream. That was very good, Declan. Good talking. All right, folks. I will be back at some point. I might sneak back on this afternoon for some magic. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how the kids are doing. If Declan naps again, he's napped the last 2 afternoons. So thank you everyone for watching. Remember, if you didn't catch all of this morning's Hex stream, we've been going for a little over 3.5 hours. 2 of the videos are already published on YouTube. I'm going to get the next 2 uploading now, and I will catch all of y'all around later.